Hey, Crispy Crew, welcome back to Crispy Cocktails, where we bring you the best drinks, the best conversations, and get crispy with leaders, coaches, mentors, entrepreneurs, and all-around badasses making waves. If you're loving what we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a sip of the action. And while you're at it, check out our website at crispycocktails.com for everything you need. Explore our flavors, find a retailer near you, browse our gallery, and get answers to your top questions. Before we jump in, don't forget to follow, share, and tag us while you sip. Now, let's meet today's guests. Cheers and get crispy. I'm sitting here today with Karen Hertz, the founder, the owner, the chief brewista of Holidaily Brewing Company, who has tons of accolades. She has awards from the Great American Beer Festival, a award from the World Beer Cup Quality Award. You also have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Top 100 Business Award. You also have the Colorado Craft Brewery of the Year Award. You also have the Colorado Manufacturing Woman of the Year Award. So we're sitting here with somebody who has been around the industry for a long time and has created something very special and has been rewarded because of it. So thank you so much for being here today. Will you explain some of those awards that you've gotten to me and how you received those?
Sure. So, I mean, really, I put awards, I guess, in two different buckets, but one is being recognized for the quality of the liquid that we make, right? So the beer that we're making. And Great American Beer Fest, we've won a number of times, and that's comparable to like a Super Bowl. So Great American Beer Fest is all the best beers in the country up against each other. This is in the gluten-free category, which we play in. And then World Beer Cup is like the Olympics. So all over the world, breweries submit these beers, and we've won an award there as well. So that's really more in reference to the quality of the product that we make, where some of these others I feel like I'm really proud of the quality of the business that we're running, right? So like Manufacturing Woman of the Year, Craft Brewery of the Year, and that U.S. Chamber, I actually got to go to D.C. and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce presented that award to us, which is insane.
Yeah, and one of the things that I am also very enamored by what you've done and everything, and your beer is fantastic, by the way. It is so good. But you're also a 2-time cancer survivor who adopted the gluten-free diet as part of your treatment.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of came up with Holidaily, because you wanted to be the #1 gluten-free beer in America.
Yeah.
And you used your story to create a business around it. And so that's very inspiring for me and for other people. And so tell me how your story got into starting your brewery and building your company.
Yeah, so I was working in beer. I was at Coors in Golden and loved the industry, loved being a part of the industry. And then I got sick, as you said. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. It was melanoma and thyroid cancer. And also diagnosed with a gluten intolerance and couldn't drink their beer anymore. I really still wanted to be a part of that industry, but I also wanted a gluten-free beer. So in some ways it was a little bit selfish, which it's okay. But I think that's how a lot of businesses get started, right? You solve a problem that maybe you have, and then ultimately you realize there's other people out there facing the same problem. And I really felt like, man, at a tailgate party or a sporting event or après ski or whatever it might be, I just wanted to have a beer, and there wasn't anything out there. And so ultimately I put that challenge personally into the perspective of, I think this is a business that I could grow, and I think there's enough people out there looking for a gluten-free beer option that I should start this thing.
Yeah, that's very cool how you did it. And one of the things that you talked about as well is your growth. You've been around now for almost 10 years. And how did you start the company?
Yeah, I mean, it's really baby steps. Every single day you got to do something brave to get it started, get it going. But I opened in February of 2016. We had 3 beers on tap, and we were open 3 days a week because I really wasn't sure. This is a little tap room in Golden. I wasn't sure if people would come to an all gluten-free brewery. You know, this was almost 10 years ago, and the gluten-free thing was not then what it is now, right? So open 3 days a week, 3 beers on tap, and by the end of the first year, we had 10 beers on tap. We were open every day of the week, and I was distributing 2 beers out of the back of my car. And that trajectory has continued really throughout. So now we have a production brewery up in Golden as well, our original brewery and tap room, and then we distribute to 11 states in the western United States.
Yeah, and I've been to your brewery, which is phenomenal.
Thank you.
And you take such good care of it, and it is super clean. And I know you have to have that gluten-free stamp on there, so you have to follow all of the regulations and everything else. And I know that it is super difficult to do all of those things and use the special ingredients and everything. Where you're at today, and now you're in 16 states?
11 states.
11 states, okay. And you're working with a distributor.
Yep. A number of distributors. So, the distribution story is very different for all different beverages, right?
Yeah.
So for beer, every state is different. And so we're with about 30 different distributors in the 11 states.
30 different distributors in 11 states?
Yeah.
How do you keep up with all that?
We have someone's job is exactly to do that. So that's really build those relationships and manage those relationships.
How many employees do you have now?
Oh, we have about 25. That includes all of our bar staff as well. But yeah, about 25 employees.
25 employees. And you've got the manufacturing plant. You work with about 30 different distributors in 11 states. And you also have a brewery as well. Or do you have two breweries?
Two breweries, really. So our manufacturing plant is a big brewery, where our original little taproom brewery is still there and still in place. And that's really where kind of our testing ground and playground for new flavors, new styles, and special things that are just available in the tap room.
Yeah, that's really cool. And you said now that you have 25 employees. What is some advice to some other owners out there in dealing with so many employees?
Yeah, I think you have to be really comfortable delegating. And I think what comes with that is being really good at recruiting people, right? So you want to find the right people. And something that I put into place really, is that going to ruin our sound?
It'll be all right.
Sorry. So something that I put into place really early on was defining what the core values are of really me and our company and our culture. And then I ultimately hire people that fill those needs for us. We also really evaluate where there are gaps, just in terms of accountability and what we need people to get done. So we have a lot of work that has gone into culture. And I think ultimately what that does is it leads to us hiring good people and then empowering them to get their job done. So, there's a lot of, I think, leaders and CEOs that have a hard time letting go of things. And I think that takes practice, and it takes hiring the right people and then trusting those people to get it done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that one thing that entrepreneurs kind of get lost in is they continue to work inside their business or in their business so much.
Yeah.
And they get caught to the day-to-day stuff. And, a lot of people can't do things as good as you. And so you will do all of the roles.
Or
and
care as much as, right? You're the founder. You care so much. Yeah.
So, working in the business, it is important, but also working on the business.
Totally.
And I think that you've done a really good job with that in growing your company and getting it to where it is now, and going through all the trials and tribulations and figuring things out and making a great product and doing all of those things. And that you had touched base on your core values, on what you're looking for when you hire people, because I know I use the OQP method, which is we try to, hire people for their attitudes and train them for skill, and make sure that they're positive, because I think that means a lot more than anything else. But what are some of your core values that you look for when hiring people?
Yeah, so ours, I can rattle them all off, but we prioritize safety every single time. So that's really, really important to us within our production facility, within our tap room. Innovation, excellence are both really big ones too. What represents excellence in the role that you're in? So if you're a bartender, what does excellence look like? If you're a brewer, what does excellence look like? If you are a marketing person, what does excellence look like? So I think getting specific examples in those different areas, because it's not the same in bartending as it is in brewing, right? So really focusing on that. I think quality falls under that as well. So we talk a lot about really all of those things. Integrity is a really big one to me. And people define that different. So what I'll say is integrity to me means if you say you're going to do something, you do it.
Yeah.
Right? You stick to your word. And that's really important to me. And so I'll definitely interview people on that. And accountability is our last one. I don't like people that try and push mistakes they made off. I'm so much happier if you make a mistake and own it than if you make a mistake and lie or make an excuse or whatever. Ownership's huge for me and for our company, and that's the good and the bad, right? So you're like, here's these awards. Yeah, we won that. That's awesome. Let's own it, right? But here's all the things we screwed up on. We got to own that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And you talk about excellence in a lot of different areas and different jobs, because excellence is different for a brewer than it is from a bartender, than it is from the owner. From your perspective, what makes an excellent owner, or what standards do you hold for yourself?
Yeah,
that's kind of a tough question.
Hard questions.
Yeah.
I thought we reviewed that. No, no, that's fine. No, that's a great question. I think, you've already touched on the working on the business versus working in the business. So you really do have to get a sky view of your company and make sure strategically everyone's headed in the right direction. And I am so bought in on culture, and I think that's on the owner. I think that, really leading the team and getting the team to believe in what your vision is hugely important and a huge part of that ownership role.
Yeah. From my perspective, I think that for an owner, we have to do so many different things, and it can be so stressful, and managing people can get very daunting. And I think that, staying calm, being level-headed, being a good example to everybody, and leading in a good direction where you can, train people and continue to get better and work with them, delegate the right tasks, take over the stuff that you're good at, and really steer the ship in the right direction, and make sure that you treat your people with respect and honor and integrity, just like your core values, right? And so that way you can build a good culture, and that people do want to work for you.
Right.
And I just always think that I wouldn't be as successful without the people behind me. And they, in turn, so I can help them be successful, and I want them to grow with the company or, on their own with whatever. And so whatever we can do to be coaches and mentors and basically help people become the best version of themselves, not just in work, but in their development as people as well, I think really makes a good leader. And I look at for excellence in myself as an owner, which can be very daunting and hard, and consistency really is key to stay on track and, always be level-headed and continue to, treat your people the way that you want to be treated. I think, a couple of things about that. One, the level head is very important, because crazy stuff happens every day, like really good or really bad, and they're all watching you to see how you react. And if you panic, everyone panics. But you have to absorb whatever's going on and then come up with a solution. The other thing that we've done, just as a visual, is our org chart is actually flipped upside down. Yeah, you told me that when I was at your brewery. So I'm on the
bottom. I'm on the bottom of our org chart, and it's really exactly what you're talking about. Is my job is to lift everyone else up and help them get their job done and accomplish their goals. And I want my leadership team to feel that same, I would say pressure, but empowerment to lift their people up and make them better. And I think so many companies are run with the boss yelling at everyone and everyone doing what they're told, and that's just not the business that I wanted to run. And I think we got as far as we have, we've gotten as far as we have because of that, because people will take some risks or try something new, or and not be scared, or it's not just my ideas that are out there, it's everybody's.
So I like that we have small companies and we're entrepreneurs, and we can empower people to be entrepreneurs inside of our organizations. So you foster creativity, and you want your people to come up with new ideas, new marketing strategies, new products, new whatever it may be, new processes that help the business along. And I think that empowerment in people is why a lot of employees want to work for small businesses like yourself or for me.
Guys,
rather than work for a corporation where you might get micromanaged and you've got to do your reports the same way and there's too much structure. Being an entrepreneur, you have to build that structure, but it has to flow in the right direction if you're going to continue to grow. And you've done such a good job with your growth over the last 8-9 years. What are some of the things that you did to grow so rapidly and keep your business in force for this long, and get to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, innovation, we talked a little bit about earlier. And also part of being small is you can be a little bit more nimble, right?
Yeah.
So things like
you can change things.
A pandemic or, just little things like that. You can make pivots, and we've certainly made some mistakes along the way. We have launched brands that ended up cannibalizing other brands. So we were like, oh, that was a bad idea. But something we tried, and now we know. So let's not do that again. Where, in a big business, you put so much behind that they're almost like, no, you got to keep it out there. You got to keep going. And I think it ends up hurting the business overall, where you can be like, oh, okay, now we're to-go beer only because the tap room shut down. Let's flex. Let's figure it out. And so I think that's a big advantage of being smaller, and it's also a way you continue to grow. I think relationships are such a huge part of growth too. Meeting you, now we know each other, our beer's here, or but that's the same with distributors, and that's the same with retailers. They're not just going to put your product on the shelf. Like, you have to build relationships with those people. And so I've done a ton of work on that over the past 9 years of really not only creating a product that I am very proud of and think people will consume, but also building relationships to help really grow the brand and get it on more shelves, to further states, all of those things.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people say, well, business isn't personal. But you talk about the relationships, and I do think that business is personal.
Totally.
And we always have to deal with vendors and distributors and retailers, like you said, and so many different people, and even our employees. And luckily we have kind of the ability to choose who we work with.
Right.
And so you want to work with the right people that are going to be aligned with your vision. And so having those relationships are huge, and then people are more inclined to do business with you.
Right.
And really your business is who you are, and the culture that you've built, and the employees that you have, and how they go out and talk to people, and how they portray themselves and your brand to the world. And so I like to do business with people that like to do business with me as well. And so that makes a good relationship. And then it does get somewhat personal in a sense. So, and that's really the fun part to me about building a business and seeing people grow and building relationships with the community and all that good stuff. You talked about, going through COVID and having to pivot and all of those things. What are some of the biggest failures you've had to deal with, that you've had to get over, that maybe didn't sit well with you at the time, but you were able to get through?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'd mentioned one where we launched a brand we were really excited about, and it ended up cannibalizing other brands. And you put a lot behind that, and you put emotion behind it. If you're going to put your logo on it and packaging on it, you care a lot about it, right? So I would say another one was we got an opportunity to lease a second taproom space in the Denver Tech Center, and while I loved it, a really cool space, it just didn't grow in the way we wanted it to, and it almost distracted my team. We're all up in Golden, our brewery's up in Golden, and people were driving down to the Tech Center, and we're dealing with stuff down there, or having to fix something down there. And at the end of the day, yes, we have a tap room. It's an awesome tool and a great place to be, but we're a distribution brewery, and it sort of highlighted that. The real bummer was we had regulars that loved Holidaily that live south that don't want to drive to Golden, so they were very, very sad. But ultimately our lease was up, and we decided to not renew that lease. and that's almost like a public, that it's hard because that's I wouldn't say a public failure, but all those customers know, like, oh, that didn't work out, or she didn't like that, or the team didn't like that, and so sometimes you got to take those and swallow that pill and say, okay, it's okay. Let's just refocus, and really what we're going to continue to do is grow. And it's working. Like, without that tap room now, our tap room in Golden is up double digits. Our distribution's up 30%. Like, everyone's focused. And I think it has paid off, but it's a hard failure. And there's, employees that worked there that didn't want to drive to Golden anymore, so they're not a part of the Holidaily team, and I hate that too.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow.
It is
sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know that your product is somewhat a little niche, but pretty much everybody can drink it.
Yeah.
But you're going after the gluten-free, and vegan customers, right?
Yes, all our beers are vegan. A lot of beer is, but not every beer is.
Okay.
So if you are vegan, be careful, because not every beer is vegan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give me some of those stats on your industry and what you need to do to be gluten-free across the board.
Yeah.
And how that's helped your sales.
Yeah, so there's 10,000 craft breweries in the U.S., and only about 13 are gluten-free.
Yeah.
So
and
very
you're number
small
one,
niche.
right?
And we're the largest of those 13.
They're the largest.
Yeah, so we're the largest of those 13. So in terms of breweries, there's not a ton of competition, and a lot of it is in, like, Oregon, Washington. There's about half of the 13 are up there. But in terms of drinkers, 1% of the population is celiac, diagnosed as celiac. So people are like, that's not a huge number, 1%. But really, any diet or you hear of right now is gluten-free. So gluten-free, paleo, vegan, any of them. But what it means is 30% of the population is cutting gluten out of their diet. So then you start getting people's attention, because they're like, oh, okay, that's a pretty big chunk, right? That doesn't necessarily mean they're celiac. It means, and I'm not celiac. I've had 2 types of cancer and have a gluten intolerance, but I'm not celiac. So it means there's this bigger group than just this 1%. That bullseye just got a whole lot bigger, and that's the group we're really going for. And it's even almost a generational thing. So younger generations are being much more careful about what they're consuming, what they're putting into their bodies. And so we want, really to include 21 and up into our audience, because we have a gluten-free beer option for them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you market to the gluten-free crowd? How do they know that this is gluten-free?
Yeah. We are certified gluten-free. So people that are, real serious about buying gluten-free products, they're looking for a gluten-free certification. So we jump through all the hoops for that, which is an audit, some testing, some training, and we get the actual certification on all of our products. So they know that way. But in addition, there's a lot of really tight-knit gluten-free groups. It could be on social media. There's also, support groups, the Celiac Association, the Celiac Disease Foundation. So we partner with them a lot on different events, maybe different sponsorships. Social media is great, just word of mouth, because gluten-free people are very loyal, and when they find a brand they love, they're really happy to share it with other gluten-free people.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy to find them all. And then outside of that, this group, we call them like LOHAS, or Lifestyles of Health and Sustainability. This is that bigger group that is looking for better for you options. They're really into health. Maybe they're big worker outers, CrossFitters, or foodies. Like they all kind of fall in that lifestyle, outdoor lifestyle. And that's we really target that group too, to hit the bigger group.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And our Krispies are gluten-free as well.
Yeah.
And we
don't
delicious. We don't really market to that crowd, but that's an extra caveat that helps us and gives us another selling point.
Definitely.
And we can get out there and let people know.
Yep.
And a lot of people like it when you say that,
yeah.
even if they're not celiac or if they're not gluten intolerant or sensitive or whatever. So that definitely helps. And just getting the word out. And one thing that I love is word of mouth marketing is by far the cheapest, best way to get your brand out there, to get people to know it. Because if you get a little army, which is what I think that you have, of your drinkers that just want to drink Holidaily and they're gluten-free, then they will be your sales force basically for you when they're at other bars.
1,000%.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, building the, like, I call them brand ambassadors.
Brand ambassadors,
that's your
for
army
sure.
out there.
Yeah.
Really representing your brand, and they come to eat here. They come to go to a restaurant, and they're like, "Do you have Holidaily?" Perfect. That's just an added word of mouth for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you said you were in 11 states as well. Do you know about how many bars, restaurants, and like grocery stores locations you're in?
Yeah, I mean, we have an idea, but I would say percentage-wise, we're about 85% in grocery stores, liquor stores, and only about 15% on premise, like bars and restaurants. And then, I mean, over 2,000 grocery stores for sure.
Wow.
And growing a lot.
That's incredible. And you're seeing growth year after year, day after day as well.
Yeah.
Do you have your own sales team as well?
I do. So I have an internal sales team of 4, ultimately, and I do a lot of sales as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about your distributors? Do they have salespeople that are out there pushing the product as well?
They do. They have, good relationships within their territories, and it's a great way to learn. It's a great resource for us to learn from, like, what's different about Southern California than Kansas City? It's very different, right? So we utilize them and their people that are on the street a lot to say, okay, this product's doing terrible here, but what do you think over there? And now we're getting big enough that we will have some brands in some places and others and not.
Gotcha. I bet you that takes a lot of research and time to figure those things out.
It does. And failures, right? Or successes. You're like, oh, okay, these people love this style.
What happens when you don't sell product, let's say in Kansas City, and you want to ship it to LA to try to move that product? What do you do then?
That's not really a thing. Once you ship it, it's there for the most part. Now, sometimes, like, if we have 2 distributors nearby, so like in Colorado, we have a distributor for Northern Colorado and a distributor for Central. Maybe Northern runs out of something and we can ship it up there real quick for a Band-Aid, but ultimately it's on us, right? We've got to have the inventory, have the ability to project and predict what's going to sell where, and supply not only our suppliers, but enough for them to have enough for retail.
Yeah.
So,
how much inventory do you keep on hand in order that so you don't run out?
Not a ton. We actually are pretty close to, when we package it that week, we ship it. So we don't have a ton on hand, but most of our distributors have 15 to 30 days on hand at all times.
Okay, 15 to 30 days on hand. So you got to keep a tight ship. And do you guys run shifts basically 24 hours?
We don't yet. No. Yep. We have people working about 6 days a week. We don't have any overnight shifts as of yet. But eventually in this facility we're in, it will have to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this, my favorite blonde, is your number 1 seller.
It is.
And how much more of this product will you sell versus your other product lines?
Yeah, so 52% of what we sell is
so
Favorite Blonde.
More than 50%.
So all the rest put together, this still sells more.
And then how often do you develop new products?
We hadn't for a couple years, but actually this year we've already launched 2 new, which makes it so fun and exciting. But one is the blonde was doing so well that we wanted to build like a blonde family, right? So
a family of blondes.
Little family of blondes. And
so you got the strawberry blonde.
We pulled, kind of. So we pulled data on, ultimately it's all around data now, and we pulled data what's selling, what's not, and fruited flavors are selling really well, right? So we actually did a variety pack of 3 different fruited blondes. We've never done a variety pack before, so this is really unique for us. And it's 2 melon, 2 passion fruit, and 2 tangerine, all in this 6-pack. And so that's an extension of that family, but that decision was, okay, we got this brand that's doing awesome. We have this data, let's mix it together, there's an extension. The other data that keeps popping up is light lagers. Light lagers keep popping up.
Yeah.
And so we have a lager coming out in Colorado and Texas that we're testing just over the summer to see how it does for gluten-free. I think there's a lot of gluten-free people out there who drink Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light, but can't have that anymore. So we're going to go after that crowd where blonde might be a little bit more crafty. This is really straight light lager, and it's called Darty Light Lager. You're by DU, but young people call it a day party a Darty, and we figured a light ABV is a great Darty. So
nice.
Darty Lager is our tester in Texas and in Colorado.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is the ABV on your Darty?
4.5.
Okay.
So lighter.
And that compares to like a Bud Light, Coors Light,
Yeah.
right around the same,
Yeah.
like 4.2-ish.
Yep, and ours our blonde is at 5, so our blonde's a little bit higher.
And isn't the light lager the number one seller in the country?
In the world.
In the world,
Yeah.
yeah. And there's probably hundreds of different, thousands, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How do you compete with bigger brands and stuff like that? I know you
Yeah.
do the gluten-free thing,
Yep.
and that's number one.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you do?
Yeah,
to
I mean,
compete?
when you had talked about labeling gluten-free on your can as a differentiator, and I think we've got a number of differentiators that add up, right? So we have the gluten-free certification. We also are the only certified woman-owned brewery in the country. So we have that as well. And then I think just the quality of the liquid and having it be gluten-free. So not just in beer, but in any gluten-free product. Like, you can be very safe, but not taste very good. Or it can taste really good, but not be entirely safe. And I feel like we found a really great intersection of it being safe and being very high quality.
Yeah, that's so good. I love how you differentiate yourself. And with us, it's all about liquid to lips.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people know about us.
Totally.
So we do a ton of tastings to get the product out.
Yep.
Promotions, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those things.
Yep.
And then, but nothing really compares to like getting the liquid to lips and getting out there and letting people try the product. Because once you build a really good, high quality product, it's just getting people to taste it because they think it's the same as everything else or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And in our world, when you lead with gluten-free, there's always like a suspicion, like, is it really good?
Right.
Not really sure. So to your point, tasting it is really, really important because it's like, oh, it just tastes like a great craft beer. There's nothing weird. So that liquid to lips is very important.
Yeah, and one thing with me, like, I built the Crispies because it was something that I wanted to drink, that I really liked, and then we expanded the flavors, and then we got it out there, and we got some really good market feedback with everything. So it's like your story as well.
Yeah.
You wanted to build something for you that you could, replicate and build, and then get it out there and see if people would enjoy it as well.
Right.
And getting growth and kudos to you for doing all that. And we're a few years behind your growth and everything that you've done, but it is so inspiring to see what you've built and where you're at, and to see your brewery and all of that good stuff, and all the awards and the accolades that you've gotten and all that good stuff. So that is great.
A question for you. I mean, I have a favorite, of course, but how did you guys pick out flavors? You said you had tried them out in the market. Did you try more than what you've launched and get feedback and say, not this, yes that? Or how did that go for you guys?
So we started with the King Peach recipe, which was my favorite. And I was drinking Deep Eddy Peach Presses, which is a splash of Sprite. And I was drinking those, and then I was making cocktails to go out on the boat, and I was doing it when I was going to events or like tailgating or whatever. And I was like, man, I should just can this because I really like it. Because I don't really like all the carbonation of a White Claw or High Noon. And those really make me feel bloated, and I can only usually drink a few beers here or there. And I liked having those, and I don't like to drink vodka or alcohol straight all the time. So I wanted to make something, so we started with the peach flavor. And then I actually had a bartender who wanted to work with me and expand, and he thought that it would be really good if we started with a cherry vanilla as well. And so we went through a bunch of different iterations, but we really liked the flavor profile. So we went with that flavor too, which ultimately has become our most popular flavor. And then my wife, she really liked the blueberry lemonade, and we would put a little bit of blueberry vodka in a lemonade and make that. And so she really wanted to make that flavor. And so we did that. And while we were in the lab testing different flavors and products, I love pineapple, and it's probably my favorite fruit. And so we tried to make something with pineapple mango. And that's how that product came about. And so we thought we would start with 4, and it works really good because you get 3 in a 12 pack.
Right.
And we really are testing the market still. So we've only been selling here in Colorado for just over a year now, and roughly we're in about 200 stores, which is great. So we've seen really great growth there.
Yeah.
We're doing self-distributing, so we're in the talks of doing our own, or working with the distributor here soon. And it's funny because I get a lot of people that are like, you should make a kiwi one, you should make a Honeycrisp apple, you should do this. The next flavor I was thinking about doing would maybe be like a orange vanilla or a creamsicle, which I think would be really popular and really good. And so we're a little bit different. We're not like, just one flat flavor. We really went for the flavor profile, and so you will see that we have all natural flavors, and that's what we went for. And that's where we've seen all of our success. And getting people to try it, they're like, oh, wow, this is really good. And it's not the same thing over and over that everybody else has. So, we compete with the big boys as well, and it can be very difficult. But growing our presence and seeing people like it has really helped, for sure. So when it came to just picking the flavors, we went with flavors that we liked, and we just kind of assumed that other people would like them as well. So, and now we're kind of seeing that cherry vanilla is our most popular, followed by blueberry lemonade, followed by the tropical pineapple mango, and then the last one is the King Peach. Yeah, the OG.
That's my
But we're
favorite.
still getting a lot of flavors with that too. And I know that we talked about doing possibly a collaboration, which I think would be super cool, because I would like to do a crispy brew or a Holidaily cocktail, which I think would be great. And you've been in the industry long enough. How would a collaboration like that look to you?
It's with liquor laws, it's always complicated, right?
Definitely.
But I do think we're going to see more and more of this in the industry in general. Really, before it was kind of like a cocktail and wine and beer, and we were all very separate, and nobody talked, and we're not friends, and whatever. And really, everything is starting to merge together. So I think we're going to see a lot of opportunity in terms of collaboration because consumers are demanding it, and I think it would be really fun to come up with a way we could do it, or make a mixed cocktail or whatever. Not only because it would be delicious, but it represents really what's happening with the industry all around, at every single level. There was just the beer aisle, just the wine aisle, and now really everything is starting to get mixed together. And it's really this beverage industry rather than one of each. And so I just think overall that it would be a great representation of what's happening.
And the market really is getting flooded with, drinks with caffeine in them, or drinks with THC in them, or drinks with mushrooms. Any health benefit you got, throw it in there. It is kind of the Wild West of
it is a lot
of how everything is collaborating and changing and getting different, and trying to get market share and seeing what sticks and what doesn't, and all of that good stuff. So I would love to do that in the future and work with you. You do a great job.
Thank you. You too.
We'll
do a Crispa Daily or something.
A Crispa Daily. And you actually, your slogan is make every day a holiday.
Holidaily.
And how did you come up with that name?
I mean, I liked the idea of a 7-day weekend. I mean, who wouldn't? But it was just too long. So it was built around that name. Like, come up with something with the same kind of a meaning. And someone said, how about Holidaily? Like, every day's a holiday. And I think I lived that way before I got sick, but especially, having cancer twice, I just reiterated, like, man, we never know. We got to make the best of every single day. So
this will be a loaded question too, what's the biggest life lesson that you got in overcoming cancer twice?
I think it eliminated some fear for me, or maybe a lot of fear for me. I think we're all scared of failing, or fear of failure is a very big thing, and I think we all get really close to the edge and like, I should try this, I should launch Crispy, I should, And then we get scared, and we're afraid of failing, or what if it doesn't work, and in some ways it was like, what am I afraid of? Like, I got really, really sick, and that's scary. This is not.
Yeah.
And so it made me a little bit less risk averse and less fearful, or maybe more fearless of, let's go try this. Let's go do this. I think that's the biggest lesson that came out of it.
Yeah. Life is short. Might as well take a crack at the
big.
apple. Yeah.
Go big.
Go big. But I love the should do this and should do that. And I think that it's funny because I joke about it, but I'm like, people should all over themselves.
They
you know
do.
what I'm saying?
The word should just go away. Should and shouldn't.
Yeah.
I hate those words because it's like this negative connotation. Like, I should work out more, or I should. Right. And it just, there's something negative to it of, we need to find a replacement.
Well, I think that people should take the out of their vocabulary for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think it's funny, you probably get the same thing too. It's like, you should do this with your business, and you should do that with your business, and you should come out with a different flavor, and you should do that. And it's like, those are all great ideas, but you should go out and do that.
Do this on your own and see where you
exactly.
live.
And maybe that's something great for you, you know? So I totally get that.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you would give to a young entrepreneur that wants to start a brewery or start their own business that you wish you would have gotten way back in the day?
I mean, I think everybody says it, but everything takes twice as long and costs twice as much. I would like double or triple that. You know, like, I really think a lot of entrepreneurs, including me, I am one of the most impatient humans on the planet. I think that's what makes me an entrepreneur, is like, let's go, we got this, go. But in some cases you have to have some patience and persistence. And so I think really listening to that advice is important, because it's very true.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It is hard to be impatient in the society that we're in now and not want to give up when things are thrown your direction. And you're a testament of, pivoting, adapting from your failures, and really persevering, and keep going forward, and just keep expanding and keep doing what you think is best for the business and steering the ship in the right direction. And now look at you, you're in 11 states, you're over 2,000 grocery stores, you have a huge brewery, a great warehouse, you've got 25 staff underneath you, you've built a great lasting business.
Thank you.
You've got a cult following of people that love your product, that drink it all the time.
Go on.
So
Don't stop.
Anyway,
no, thank you very much.
Where can we find you?
Yeah.
And I know, go to one of your local liquor stores, Colorado,
come see
or
the tap
any of
room
the
in
states.
Golden. But social media wise, we're out and about everywhere. Holidaily Brew is one of our directions I would send you for distribution. Holidaily Tap Room is specific to the tap room, and then I have my own handle, which is at Chief Brewista. So you can go follow all the crazy that I do every day. I travel a lot to go to other states, so it's kind of fun just to keep everyone updated on what I'm up to.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll end with this. What is the big goal and aspiration as you move into the future?
I always say world domination.
Yeah.
I mean, you had mentioned it earlier, but really I want to be the obvious choice for gluten-free beer in the U.S. I think a lot of people think stout, they think Guinness, right? If you think gluten-free beer, I want you thinking Holidaily, and that's my goal.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I think that you will definitely get there one day.
Crisper Daily.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's to 5 o'clock somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Here's to a good tan and a buzz with the good ones that we love. Here's to 2 for 1 on ladies' night. Here's to the 19th hole, anchors down and bottoms up. It's all